year for ELC. It's good to have all of you join us. And we've got a special guest here today, Sajid. And Sajid has just dialed in from London. It's always great to chat with Sajid and meet him whenever I'm in London as well. So I can see people are just joining in now. And you put together your questions in the deck as well, the questionnaire document. So we'll go through that as well. Just as a rhythm of what we're going to cover is just going to go through the first 30 minutes with Sajid, and then I'm going to get into the Q&A, go through some of the questions that you guys have put into the Google Doc. So if you haven't yet done that, you still have 30 minutes to just go and put in your highlight, your challenge, what your question is, what your key learning and key actions are as well. And then I'm going to share a really super awesome tip on how we're doing certain things to bring in a great number of people through to Genius U and using the impact meter as well. And we're going to get Sajid's expertise on how he's using the impact meter. He's had some phenomenal results in the last month, and I can't wait for Sajid to share his story. Hey, Sajid.
Hey, what's happening? How's everything? Good?
Yeah, thanks for joining in for the call. And as I was mentioning, the theme of this call is Find Your Flow. And what we're going to do is over the next 12 months, every month we're going to have a theme. And there is no better place to start the call with the first theme, which is flow, right? Getting into flow and how it affects your day-to-day life and how you're doing certain things at work as well. So what's the story, Sajid? Like, how did you get started? And even in terms of how you got to where you are right now, just a brief background on the amazing results you've got in the last month. So it's possibly not an overnight success, but it's there must be like a lot of effort and that would have gone into it for you to get into that flow.
Yeah, I think it's been a long journey, and I've tried a lot of different things. And I think part of it is really understanding who you are, which I think Roger goes on about quite a lot. But until you really get that, it has a massive impact. So I originally thought I was a star, and then I started to go more towards mentoring and being more of a supporter. And I just found that I really enjoyed that more. I enjoyed helping other people succeed more so. I can still do the star thing, but more so than kind of just, just sort of being on the stage all the time. So when I began to go down that direction, I began to help. Originally, it started off by helping people in my community. I had a bunch of friends, and I was helping them with, sort of millionaire master plan and helping them through that one-to-one. And they were loving it, and I was getting some amazing results. So I was doing a fair bit of that. And then, when I began to do that, I sort of left that for a while, and I started to. That's when I thought I was a star. I thought, I don't need to do this, and I left that for a while. And I started to do some other things, which weren't working out, and I wasn't in flow. Then I thought about it. I thought, hold on. Remember that time when you were really helping your friends out, and they were like really enjoying it, and they were like really saying you're amazing, and you're really appreciating it, and they're getting massive changes, and you're finding it really easy to do and fulfilling. Why don't you go back to that? So then that's when I decided, okay, let's really bed down into, wealth dynamics, and really bed down to what I was doing originally with my community, my friends and family and stuff like that. And let's really start offering things from there. So that's when I sort of began to go into really beginning to mentor people on these concepts. And instead of just going for family and friends, begin to branch out to other people and so on. So then I joined Michelle's Accelerator for the mentor group, and that was a mind shift. That was absolutely one of the most pivotal moments in my life, in my entrepreneurial life, I think, in terms of just changing the whole way you look at business, the whole way you look at entrepreneurship. I think Roger talks about entrepreneurship coming from a French word meaning adventure. And I think you really have to look at this thing as adventure. And even when it comes to finding your flow, you've got to have an adventurous, experimental mindset where you're trying different things. maybe for 3 to 6 months, maximum a year, before you find what you're really looking for. So I did the accelerator with her, and we I sort of launched my first accelerator where I'm taking people through this, and then but I just sort of brought in thousands of pounds worth of people, which was like an eye opener for me, And before then, I did like a little trial run where I was doing like small one-to-one mentoring, and even that I felt like it was so natural for me. I felt like this is where I'm at. I really, at the end of each mentoring session, I felt even more charged than at the beginning.
Yeah.
I felt inspired. So then from that, I went to the accelerator. I said, let me try an accelerator, bring people together. And I did the accelerator, and I had a bunch of people join, and that was it from then on. So from that, I can really feel that now I'm moving in a direction that I actually feel like I'm actively contributing. I feel energized by. I enjoy it. I look forward to it. And people, I can tell I'm in flow as well, because people are feeding back to me. People are referring. I've got a reference from somebody else who's referring to one of their friends to me. So all these things, which show that I'm moving in the right direction.
Yeah. And how easy or difficult was it to get that first customer on board?
I think you've got to approach it from a perspective of giving value, as opposed to from a perspective of selling something. I think sometimes the kind of mistake we make is that we sort of approach it from a viewpoint, I've got a product to sell, as opposed to giving them value. Once you give people value, they build trust with you, and once they build trust with you, then they're going to buy something from you. So I think from the first customer point of view, I think it's also a change of mindset to actually ask somebody for money, But I think it was a change of mindset for me, and to understand how to ask for that. I think it's probably worth discussing in another session, another theme, is how to sell in that way. That was a learning as well. But I think coming from a vision of giving value and building trust, and then asking for a sell, makes it a lot more easy. That's what I found.
Yeah. You when we were chatting last month, you raised an interesting point of either going and charging people like really small amounts, like say like $9 per session, or just going in and just going for a big one, which you're doing like £1,000 or so, right? Just hold on before you answer that. I want everyone who's on to the call, just make sure you're on the Facebook group, commenting on that image. There's Sajid over there with the photo I've seen. Okay, so you got everyone here. Catherine.
Where did you get that from?
From Facebook. Is that you like 2 years back?
That's my blue steel. That's my blue steel look, guys.
Steel. Okay, yeah. So we got everyone here. Sean is saying had a discussion with Sajid about 2 weeks. Phenomenal guy. Yeah. He is totally. All right. So just comment on that, and we'll come back to some of the questions over there as well. Cool. So Sajid, just back to what you were sharing on that shift of just being confident of charging someone, say, £1,000 when you were just underselling yourself with something like $9, and how that process was as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's this time. The first few times I did it, I didn't make the sale. Right, so there's the element of trying to make the sale, failing to make the sale, thinking about and sort of asking people around me, asking Michelle, who was mentoring me at the time, still mentoring me, asking people like that and saying, okay, where am I going wrong? Also learning about the sales process and everything else. So it wasn't like I decided to do this, it was all smooth. It was more a case of trying it, failing to make the sale, understanding what I was doing wrong, tweaking what I did, trying again, failing again, but realizing I moved on a little bit more in the right direction, trying again, failing again, and then making my first sale.
Yeah.
It's interesting also that once you make your first sale, you start to get a bit of momentum.
And was the value proposition of the product the same, or did you have to do something very different?
I think the value proposition didn't change. I think the challenge is to make your your people understand the value
Hmm.
of what you're doing.
Okay.
Sometimes, yeah, I agree. Sometimes you can tweak the value proposition. Sometimes actually making people understand the value. We live in a world with a very short attention span, and I think you've got to get across what you're doing and how it really fits with them perfectly. And I think the first step of that is really understanding where they are.
Yeah.
I think that's a critical point, understanding where they are and seeing if you can help them. And if you can't help them, I think you actually gain value by saying that, sorry, this thing isn't appropriate for you. Then you gain respect for that, as opposed to trying to sell everybody. I don't think that's fair, because you'll get people on board who aren't suited to it, So I think the key thing is to first understand where they're at, and then to kind of give your value in a way that provides an epiphany for them or gives them a massive wow moment.
Yeah.
And that builds a trust. And from that trust, then you can discuss if they want to work with you further.
Yeah. And I really, that's such a critical point, because what Roger shares as well, right? Like your business is not your business when you have just an idea. Your business is a business when you have your first customer who's willing to pay you for the service you're offering them, right? So how you can go and start doing that for, say, one customer and do it really, really well, and then replicate it for that model, and just go face to the impact meter. So how have you used the impact meter? And I believe it was just a few months back that you kind of started using it and saw the results coming in a big way. I believe a lot of leaders have started getting an idea of the impact meter, and they're just getting started onto it. And we're going to go through the entire pathway over the next 12 months of how you can get more, say, community, people in the community, followers, and then getting them to subscribe, into then becoming paying customers, right? So how have you done that? How are you using Impact Meter, and how are you using Impact Meter to talk about Impact Meter as well, right? So a lot of people right now do coaching and training. This is a really good way. You could actually use some of the resources to just start scaling up and set up your business as well.
You're right. It's ironic. I'm using the impact meter to talk about the impact meter and mentor people on the impact meter. It's extremely ironic.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've done a lot of courses and a lot of stuff out there, and the impact meter is one of the best things that I've seen, to be honest. It gives you so much more focus. Because I mean, Roger talks about this issue of the telescopic view. You're looking a year ahead or 5 years ahead, and then you've got your sort of right in front of your face view, right? And I think the impact meter gives you that bridge in between.
Yeah.
Where before you make a year plan, you know how to get there. But here, by focusing on the number of customers, if you're on 10 customers, you know that next my focus is on, sort of providing a value, a market fit, and then scaling it properly and that kind of stuff. Well, if you're on 1 to 10, you're very much focused just on giving a lot of value, and you're focused on getting referrals and that kind of thing, right? So it allows you to really know at what stage you are and really sort of laser focus you on the actions that you are doing now. So it is, like sometimes you do a lot of things and you're missing something, right? The missing link. And I think the impact meter for me is definitely one of those missing links, which I think a lot of the leaders out there really have to seriously put that as a pivotal part of their focus. If they're on one customer, there's no point in doing tons of courses on Facebook ads at that point necessarily. Yeah. And the key focus then is am I giving enough value to this one customer, and that she's willing to pay, sort of come back to me again and pay more, and or is she willing to refer to other people? So that's your focus from 1 to 10, really. It's not about running around everywhere doing Google ads and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of focus saves so much unnecessary energy, where you're studying things you don't need to study, you're doing things you don't need to do, and you're very much focused on delivering what you need to deliver. So it's massive. The impact of it. The impact of the impact meter is massive.
Yeah. So, how are you doing right now in your business? Like, what are the kind of numbers you're getting, and what is the followers and community and prospects you need to get, like in terms of percentages, to get to that number? Because we've got a lot of clients who are just starting out and are creating new products out there, and what are some of the KPIs they should be keeping in mind or measuring day to day to make sure they're on the right path?
Yeah. So I mean, I think sort of the first step is getting from one customer to 10 customers,
Mm-hmm.
and on that level, you're really looking at sort of just offering a lot of value. I think Genius U is for me the best platform I've found for actually generating customers.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a little bit of work on Facebook. I'm probably going to do a lot more on Facebook when it comes to expanding, which I'm sort of going into the kind of, I'm moving to the phase I want to increase my audience and expand more. So, I'll be looking at Facebook and more sort of well-known mediums to do that. But as a starting point, I think Genius U has been amazing. And the path that I've typically used, which I found quite good, is starting a circle.
Mm-hmm.
I think starting a circle is critical and important, and then posting at least once a week on your circle.
Mm-hmm.
I used to post every day. Then I was in an experimental mindset, so I stopped that for a while, and then I went into doing events,
Yeah.
like video events, which is really good. But what I've kind of realized, I need to still post at least once a week. So I'll be starting to post again once a week. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a bit of content that stays in the Genius U environment. People can see what you're talking about and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think circle, posting weekly, and then from that having an event, like a Genius U video event. I think that's a really good way to go.
Mm-hmm.
And from the Genius U event, I should give some sort of really good value that people can appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
And once you've got that, then offer them a one-to-one consultation.
Yeah. Great. So when you created the circle, like many of our leaders are now going to go into Genius U and going to create that their first circle, or some of them would already have their circle and setting up their first events. Is there a specific strategy on making the circle, getting, but how about having those members come in on, say, day-to-day basis as well?
So, Raj, you broke up halfway through that.
Oh, I
I
believe
want to heard
we've
about creating a circle.
lost Sajid. He's frozen. Let me see if there's a connection issue here. If you guys can hear me, just drop a comment in the chat so I know that you guys can hear me fine. And we'll just find out whether it's the issue at my end. Sajid.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So sorry, we
I'm back.
for a second. But yeah, good to have you back. Yeah, so I was just talking about many of the leaders are now going to get into creating their circles and events as well. Now, how did you go and get those first members?
Well, one thing I think is putting a regular post on, and in your post, once you've written something, then giving them a very clear call to action that, look, come and join my circle. That's like a first easy step. I think anything that you're producing, in telling people about your circle, giving them an easy link to join your circle is the first sort of step, any kind of, generally speaking, unless you're trying to sell a particular product and focus on selling the product. That's probably the first thing. A second thing, also, you can invite people as well within Genius U as well. So you can also invite people to join your circle. So I'd recommend doing that as well to increase your circle as well. Those are probably the two main means that I use to sort of expand my circles.
Okay. And do you want to share your experience on how you did? So Sajid created this really cool thing, and I found that when I met him in London, and that circle just took off on. So we get about 1,000 people joining Genius every day, and I have to admit, like, the onboarding process is not that great onto Genius. It's something that we're working on right now, and Sajid just went in and he saw an opportunity there, and he created the circle for people who are coming into Genius U every day on how to use Genius U. Now, I just finished our board of advisors meeting here in Singapore. I'm here at Singapore office right now, and we just spoke to the CEO of Perks. If you guys know Eduardo Saverin, the co-founder of Facebook, he has invested in Perks, and Perks, Anna from Perks was just sharing on how they've got people within their community on how people should use their product. And they're actually, that community training and learning has helped them grow their product in such a big way. So what really happened when you just decided that, hey, I should create the circle, and that's where it just took off, right?
Yeah, that was like that was my. I think it's important not to make it too general, right? So that was and also to look for things that people are feeling. So when I was in Genius U, I could just see that a lot of people were struggling, and they're all over the place and trying to how to use it. So I thought, let me just help out. The inception point was, let me just give some value here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just kind of help people here. And that's what originally sort of started that circle. It was just, okay, I'll just help people out.
Yeah.
And from that, it just sort of grew and expanded, and just went to a point where it's like 1,000 plus now,
Yeah.
And a lot of my events are, I think once you get to a level of people where you got a number of people join, you got, like, say, I don't know, 100 or 200, maybe more, you got people in your circle, then you can start to probably run events where they'll hear about your events. They also know about you now, right? Because you've posted a number of articles, they've joined your circle, you're posting regularly some really cool content, they're loving you for it, and all of a sudden they get a little thing popping up saying he's doing a live video event. Then it's a no-brainer for free. There's no brainer for people to join you because you've given them so much value already, you've built so much trust, and now they're going to see you in person. You're going to get like a good kind of thing with it,
Yeah, that's really
a good turnout.
Yeah, and in a way, that's exactly how we started Genius U, and it's got over 700,000 users now. And I'll share the story because it's such a good story on Well Dynamics and Genius U. Just to give you guys a number, right? So Well Dynamics was generating about close to $20,000 a month. This was about 4 or 5 years back. And we're like, hey, what do we need to do to make sure that there is an ongoing sale that happens through people coming and taking Well Dynamics test and getting that value? So we identified it's the market. And that's why I talk about identifying your customer is such an important thing, identifying your users. Sajid did that by identifying who are the people who are struggling to use Genius U. In our case, we went out and looked at entrepreneurs who are looking for path of least resistance, right? And once we found our customer avatar, and we created it, we actually wrote it down on what the customer avatar should look like. So I'm just going to share my screen and show you what a customer avatar looks like. And you guys can see my screen here. Okay. Do you see this particular slide, right? So this slide actually talks about Enterprise Jack, and we created this, right? Just wrote it all down, and we spoke about Enterprise Jack, 35 years old, has an e-commerce startup or wants a startup, and sees many stories of others who have launched their own startup and achieved success. His biggest problem is that he doesn't want to waste time trying to grow through trial and error, but also don't know what the best strategies are to leverage his time most effectively. If he can find specific strategies that he believes can work for him personally from a network he trusts, he's ready to take action so that he doesn't waste time or money down the wrong path. On his daily evening commute to home, he watches entrepreneurial videos and catches up on inspiring stories on Facebook, right? So that's what we identified like a proper customer avatar as. Now, what is it that you guys are doing? I'm just going to check there's some messages coming through. Oh, you guys couldn't see it. Okay, let me just try this again. Your videos are off, Sajid. Okay. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you guys can see the screen
I,
now, right?
I can see. I can see me at the moment. So yeah.
Cool. Okay. Great. So
Yeah.
I was talking
Now I
about.
can see the screen.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about, which is like
Yeah.
Meet Enterprise Jack, right? So we actually wrote it down on what that person really is, and I'd really encourage you to go as detailed as possible on identifying who your customer is and just listing it down, because it makes such a big difference in how you do specific things, right? So we actually mapped out even before Jack could get on a journey, we mapped out what would Jack see, right? So the first thing Jack would see is an ad, and the ad would talk about, are you like Jeff Bezos? The 8 types of entrepreneurs, and Jeff Bezos is a mechanic profile.
Raj,
Yeah.
you know what's crazy? They're saying, guys, saying they can't slide this yet.
So they can't see the screen.
Let me just check again. Yeah, they can't seem to see the slides.
Okay.
Still no slide. That was 1 minute ago.
Okay. Maybe now they would be able to.
Hey Rita, I don't think it's my portrait. I don't think you're not meant to be seeing my portrait. You're meant to be seeing the slides.
Now you see.
Rita just.
Now you see the Facebook. Now do you see the slides?
I'm just checking what you're saying on Facebook. Let's have a look. What the crew's saying. Rita just said, "Yep, yep." Rosemary said you can see it now.
Okay,
You're
perfect.
good to go.
Yeah, I just had to tap on my name over there so that my slide shows up instead of Sajid's photo. But yeah, so this is the one which I was sharing, and it's such a critical one on identifying who your real customer is. And then we actually mapped out what Jack's journey is going to be and how Jack is going to become a raving fan, right? And if you note it down, it will come through, right? Like you'll have say one person go through this journey or the funnel, you'll have 10 go through this, and then you'll identify the patterns on how they are reacting to certain things. So this is the one which talks about Jack's journey, which talks about and this is the ad Jack would see when he first comes onto say Facebook, and it talks about 8 types of entrepreneurs. Which one are you? Jeff is mechanic profile. And then they click onto the link and go onto the website. Now, if they go onto the website, they might decide to make the purchase or just have a look through the Well Dynamics Profile Test site. If they don't make any decision by going onto the website, we are actually capturing their pixel, right? So there's something called Facebook Pixel. You can easily install it onto your website, and when people go onto your website, you can track and show them specific ideas so that they can benefit from it as well. So if they haven't taken any action, we show them an ad, another ad, which talks about, hey, download the free ebook. Now, the chances that they haven't made a decision on making a purchase is probably because of financial reasons, or probably they don't trust the product enough and they need more information. And that's when we give them a free ebook or a free e-guide, so they can download that and get some more information from it. And after they download the e-guide, the next thing they get is an email which talks about, I'm writing with an additional download. I find really it is an e-guide to Well Dynamics. So this is the email that they get. And from the e-guide email, they actually get a video series. So they get the first video, which talks about how to double your income and half your stress. The second video they get is how to build $1 million team. And the third video they get is 5 biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make. So what we've done is identified, like, there is a strategy here where we are marketing to people based on they seeing our ad on Facebook. From Facebook, they go to our website. On our website, they may take an action, they may not take an action. If they take an action, great. They've purchase the Well Dynamics Profile Test, and then they go on to a different journey. They go on to the Well Dynamics Micro Degree journey. If they haven't purchased it, then we give them an e-guide, show them an e-guide ad, which is a free ebook, right? So they download it and get more information from it. And after that, they see a series of videos. Now, the way we have titled the videos, now all the videos around well dynamics, but the title of the videos kind of gives you an idea on who are we catering to. The first video is called How to Double Your Income and Half Your Stress, right? So it talks about a positive and a negative. So it caters to all the dynamos, it caters to all the say mechanic and dynamos on how to create that thing, right? So they are like thinking on that new product of how they could double that income and half the stress. The second one talks about how to build $1 million team. So that talks about everyone who's on the Blaze side of team and how to reach out to more people, and also how to build that team and have that culture in place. The third video talks about 5 biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make, and that caters to all the ones who are on the steel side because they need more information to find out what it is about, right? So the entire process of us building this took us just about a week's time. All we needed was a camera, someone to talk. So no better person than Roger to talk in front of the camera. So we got him to talk on these 3 topics. Converted that into a funnel so that once a person sees us on Facebook, post that, they get the email, they get the videos, and from the videos, it becomes a no-brainer for them to invest say $97 into the test and make that purchase. So ask yourself, like, do you have any product funnel in place, and are you measuring on day-to-day basis on how people are actually taking steps of on that, right? So we've done that pretty effectively for well dynamics. We capture through custom audiences as well. So Facebook and Google allows you to upload a CSV, like an Excel doc of email addresses onto say Facebook if you're doing a Facebook ad, and then they would show ads specific to them. And this is how most of the marketing agencies make sure that you're seeing ads which are very relevant to you, and Facebook algorithms do that in a really good way. And we do that through Facebook, and also Google does the same thing. When I upload a CSV onto, say, Google, it would show you valuable content just based on your likes and preferences. So you can do that pretty easily. All you need is, say, 20 or 30 people on your list. Upload that on Facebook and look for a look-alike audience as well, on how you can look at a look-alike audience. So all of a sudden your customer base or people who you're reaching out to goes from, say, 20 people to, say, 200,000 people who look very similar to your audience group. So Facebook algorithms kind of identifies what the characteristics of those 20 are, and then multiplies that as well. So this pathway helps people grow that side of the business. Just so, as I was saying, we were doing like 20 grand about 3 or 4 years back, and now just this funnel, we haven't changed it since, and that's generating about $200,000 a month with just 2 people and the same old funnel behind it. So it's a really good way of getting people through a journey and having them like getting them to experience specific things. I'm also going to share one more thing on Facebook ads, because that, I think, is very relevant to everyone getting new customers, right? So we did this with Entrepreneur Inspiration downloads, right? So I'm just going to open this one up. If this is from 10th December on until 13th January, right? Our daily budget, it's not much. It's $23 a day is all that we are spending on this. But overall, we spent $726. That has given us over 1,000 subscribers. So these 1,000 subscribers have come in, and they download the Entrepreneur Inspiration ebook. Now, Entrepreneur Inspiration is basically all of Roger's Facebook stories. Roger does Facebook posts regularly, so we took that, converted that into an ebook, and made that as a lead magnet. So just think about what you could use as a lead magnet so that people come in and download and give you their email addresses or details so that you can give them more valuable information on ongoing basis. So we did this, and our cost per acquisition, which is cost per result, is really low, which is like 70 cents. And we're doing this along with Facebook directly. Like Facebook guys are helping us make sure that we optimize these ads. These are going to a lot more people and reaching them, and there's an ongoing flow of this. What happens is once we get 1,000 people, you'll just see from the results here, from these 1,000 people, we had someone actually go in and purchase the activation toolkit. They've gone in, they've downloaded the WDE guide as well. There are about 9 people who initiated checkout. There's one person who's made another purchase as well. So we've easily recovered the $726. But what has also happened is from this 1,000 people, we get about 300 people who would download the Well Dynamics e-guide. What happens is we get them to download this ebook, and then we send them an email saying that, hey, here's a free bonus of downloading the Well Dynamics e-guide. And they download that, they get more information on Well Dynamics. From those 300 people, we get about 20 people who then go in and purchase the Well Dynamics test. And that by itself, like 21 people purchasing the Well Dynamics test, that's about $2,100, so 2,100. So we've generated 2,100, plus we've made money before just by giving out this free ebook. So at no given point, we actually promoted Well Dynamics test, and we didn't get them to buy that. It's just by them going through the funnel and getting these valuable resources that they've generated that kind of revenue. So identify what are the lead magnets which would help you generate that kind of revenue for your business. And if you see here, it's very basic, right? So we just got this really single image ad. And what the guys at Facebook told me was like, people connect with people really well. So whenever you have an ad, have a person in the ad. Don't have an image of just a beach or just a laptop. Have a person in that image who's most like, it's always good if that person's looking at in front of the camera, right? So you've got that connection with the user who's going to see that ad. We've done that very clearly here with the Entrepreneur Inspiration ebook. So you'll see the ad here. It talks about over 200 plus stories to inspire your entrepreneurial journeys. Download free ebook now. And there are people who's like 5,700 plus people have liked it, 252 comments, 831 shares. So people have, it's very straightforward. There's an image of Roger, there's an image of ebook, and it clearly says download free ebook now, right? And that's how we're getting that cost per acquisition on that e-guide as low as that, which is just like 70 cents. And what the other thing that we're doing, there's like 76 cents on this, which is the chatbot. And this is really cool chatbot. And you don't need to know a lot of coding or be really technical, because all of this is provided for free by Facebook. So you can just go in and set these things up. Here's another ad of the same thing, which talks about, want to get inspired from real life entrepreneur stories? We have compiled over 200 stories in this ebook. Type yes in the comments below, and we'll send a free entrepreneur inspiration ebook to inspire your entrepreneurial journey. And it just says, and it has a clear comment here, say type yes, right? So once they actually go in and type yes, so I'm just going to pull this ad as well so you guys can see what are the kind of comments that are coming in for this ad. So you'll see here, this is the ad which shows up on the newsfeed. Now people are just going and commenting yes, because that's what the ad asks for. And once you do that, Facebook will actually open up the chatbot and send you a message saying that, hey, thanks for downloading the e-guide, and just put in a message saying inspire, and you'd be able to download the e-guide. So that's basically how Facebook chatbot works. We are using something called ManyChat, manychat.com, which is really, really useful. So I'll just post that link here in the chat here too, so you guys can use this. Cool. and all these resources are free. So just go in and experiment on how you can use this, right? So you got Tina saying we also have a non-commercial knowledge sharing circle on Facebook while you're yeah. So go join Tina's Genius circle as well and have a look at this ManyChat tool. What are your thoughts, Sajid, on how you generate leads when you first get started as well? Like this was just one of the ways. You're mute, Sajid.
So, yeah, okay. You hear me?
Yeah.
So how to generate leads when you first get started, right?
Yeah.
Initially, I think it'll come from your circle, really.
Yeah.
What I found the easy way of doing it is initially introduce you to focus on building your circle, inviting people to it.
Mm-hmm.
And once you've done that, then to organize an event. And what you'll find when you organize an event, it might say 20 attendees, but 6 may turn up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so from those 6 that turn up, then I would sort of recommend sort of offering them a one-to-one, and that's your first lead.
Yeah.
I think that's the easiest sort of, you know, way that you're not getting too sort of, you know, confused by anything. It's a really straightforward thing where you've got your circle, you've built up a bit of a following, 100 plus or 200 followers.
Yeah.
That event, you're following that path. I think that's the easy way of doing it.
Yeah. And as I was sharing, like the importance of customer avatar, I'm just going to go back to that screen of Facebook, which is the ads, right? So this part of the ads. We're using chatbot, we're using the normal areas as well, but Facebook gives us breakdown on a really detailed way as well. So right, I can click here, I can look at age, I can look at gender, and like what are the people age group which are downloading this. So you'll see here between the age group of 25 to 34, there have been 289 down. This is just for a period between 10 December and 13 Jan. So you had a majority of the people who are downloading between 25 and 45, and that's actually our age group. Now, once you know what your customer avatar is, you can show your ads specific to those people. We can just do age and gender as well here, and it talks about who are the people who are actually downloading the most. So we've had like people in these age groups and gender who are downloading. So you see 35 to 45-year-old male, 104 downloads, 25 to 34-year-old female, 84, and 89. So that's like the age group, 25 to 45 is what we've identified as our perfect person for the customer avatar. And that's why you'll see here, we've identified Jack as 35-year-old. And once you know that, you can target Facebook ads specifically to that audience group. We do that for all the other campaigns as well. So I'm just going to see if I can pull out one more ad set so that you get an idea on how we've done that, right? So there is the one for, say, wealth dynamics. So you'll see here. So you'll see here, like we're spending like $11.37. That's our cost for generating $97. So we're making like about over $80 per ad that's going out, and this is just for that period of people who are purchasing from this. But if you go to look at again the breakdown, it would tell you like what is the age and gender, and again you'll see the majority of the people kind of fall between that 25 to 45 age group, right? So you can specifically target to them and put make sure that you have some allocation of funds in that area. So that makes a really, really big difference on then generating revenue. So that's just a quick tip on how you could create your funnels. You can drop in your questions for next month as well around the funnels, and we'll cover those too. I'm just going to come on to questions, and I'll get Sajid to kind of assist in providing his thoughts on some of this as well. So we've got some questions here. We've got a question from Daniel. What's an effective onboarding process for new team members to feel full committed to our vision? What's an effective structure to manage creative employees on a weekly basis? So I'll just share like how we do that, right? For team members, and how Michelle's now going to do that. So Michelle's actually creating a micro degree for our team members. So once they come on board, they're actually going through a micro course for say 2 weeks on learning everything about the culture, about who the team members are, what the kind of resources that is available to them. And it was about 5 years back, we came with our culture code, and our culture code spoke about global, that everyone who is part of the company has to look at the bigger picture and then break it down into parts and focus on those, and do that at every action that they take, right? The second one, which everyone looks at, is the entrepreneurial. So every employee needs to have that entrepreneurial mindset. So you've got the global, you've got the entrepreneurial. The next one is natural. And there's a quote which says, in nature, nothing is rushed, yet everything is accomplished, right? So which is everything happens at its own pace. It's just like there is a traffic flow that's going through a road. You can't really see the flow of that traffic. If you speed, you'll crash. If you slow down, you'll crash as well. So it's just like the car gear analogy that Roger gives as well. Like when you're driving, you're speeding a car at like first gear or second gear, it'll have that whining sound. So having that as a part of the culture, which is like being natural, makes a big difference. So there's like global, entrepreneurial, natural. We've got I, which is inspiring. So every individual gets inspired from other team members who are part of it as well. U is unique, and S is smart. So all of these spell out as genius. And we've identified that culture code. And every week, when we have a flight deck meeting, we talk about the culture code as well. And every 3 months, when we have a team meeting, everyone talks about how did they live their values, which is like the culture values. And this helps the team stay in flow as well. Once you know what your culture is, you would stick to it. If you're going off track from the culture, is when your company and your team is going to be out of flow as well. We got here a question from Ruslan. Can you explain the difference between retention, engagement, virality, and the half yearly economics in your flight deck, right? So this is what we've got from our investors and even the VCs that we are working with in Singapore. And these guys run like $1 million funds. And they said that the entire metrics that they try to measure and the investment is based on is like, what is the how many members are actually coming on, and how many customers are actually coming on, and how many people are staying and engaging with your platform, right? So we have this here. Let me see if I can pull this out. So we got this here, which talks about how many people are actually coming in as followers, how many people are sticking around to be part of the community, how many are actually paying, which are the rookies and the loyal fans as well. So that REV model, now your metrics could be different. Your KPIs could be really different based on your business. So you may not have high number of people trying to come in at the free level. It would be directly at the paid level as well. But it's an idea for you to define how many are coming in through the door on day-by-day basis, how many people are getting to know you through the Pixel audience, through the e-guide downloads, or any lead magnets. How many of those are actually engaging with you or making a second purchase, like making a first purchase and the second purchase as well. So the way we have done it is we identified that we've categorized the clients in different mediums, right? So there is the first one is someone who's a prospect, who's never bought anything, but basically has downloaded an e-guide, right? So they've actually given us their time. They've invested by giving their email address. That's a prospect. A rookie is someone who's made a purchase once. So this person has just made one-time purchase. So that person is called a rookie. A person who makes a purchase more than once is, we call them like a loyal fan. So they are the ones who made maybe a well-done token. They've come to our events. And a raving fan is someone who's made a purchase more than multiple times and is also an advocate, that is also an affiliate of ours. So that helps us define what kind of messaging we are going out to with these group of people. So once you've got your database, just having that information of how many prospects are coming in on week by week basis, how many rookies are coming in by week basis, how many, say, loyal fans or raving fans are coming in. So you can define that, but just make sure you're measuring it on week by week basis, because that just makes a big difference, right? So we got a question from Charlotte. How can I use Genius to support our business? Can my business partner join the circle as we want to ensure? So the three questions here. Sajid has already answered the question how you can use Genius U. So he uses the circles to run his calls. We're going to go on to Genius U on the next call, and I'm going to show you how you can use your circles to run webinars just like this. The reason I haven't gotten onto that as yet is because I want to walk through on how you can set that up, and that would be on the next call, and how you can use a circle to run webinars and run your business and get your team onto it as well. Can my business partner join the circle, as we want to ensure we are aligned to? So your business partner can definitely listen in on the calls, but we always want just one person to put in the comments and be the spokesperson, because it just helps us work with that person and grow the business. There's a question from John, which is talking about, I would like to co-host fast track events in Durban, South Africa. I believe there is a, yeah, totally. Durban fast track sounds like a great idea. We're doing that we did that in Brisbane. The London one is almost sold out right now, and majority of the sales for those events came from our partners and Facebook ads, and we just followed the same process of pixeling audience and showing them specific ads. So that worked really well. Do you have experience in using Facebook and digital media advertising to promote business-to-business advertising and creation of lead generation? Totally. So in a business-to-business idea, the person who's making the decision end of the day is going to be an individual in that business. So while Facebook is a good tool to get their attention at that personal level, so Salesforce and most of the CRMs do this in a really good way, because they're getting your business to invest into their software, right, or their CRM. So they capture you at the Facebook stage, the personal level. So you can target from Facebook who are the decision makers in a business and show them specific ads. And that way, you can just see and get their attention, and then target them through a LinkedIn ad as well. So there is like a two-pronged approach of Facebook and LinkedIn. And once you do that, you can then provide your business product to them in a big way. So when we are selling something like Talent Dynamics, which is more of a B2B, it's going more mainly for teams. Our target audience is all the HR, like recruitment heads in companies, and you can define that in Facebook ads and LinkedIn ads as well. And we are targeting the decision makers in the business with those specific ads, so it becomes really easy. And if they keep seeing your ad day to day, there's no way when they see that product coming in, it's going to be really easy. Is there someone who I can be referred to who will assist me with my WordPress site? Yes, Jonathan, we have our services team as well who can help you out with the WordPress. You can just drop me a message and we can take it from there. Our services team, we're just opening that to our partners as well who can help you with getting your website streamlined as well. I'm a creator dynamo at orange level, moving to yellow, keep getting stuck at what to focus on. I realize I need to rebrand my business. Do I create my personal brand using my name or give it a name? What are the pros and cons? And it really depends on what your business focus is as well. Like if your is, I'd say, more of, say, your personal brand definitely makes a business work for say a period of time and gives you that credibility, but you need to have that business name backing it as well. So it really depends on what your business is. So just put that in, what your business is, and I'll just go in and suggest you some of the ideas that can come on the back of it. I've gone through these questions and answers pretty quick. You can have any follow-up questions which you have here or the next month as well, and I'll cover those too. But Sajid, just coming back to you, anything you'd like to add on what I've shared, and any of these questions where you think there's some value that they could get as well? I'm just
I
gonna.
think you've done a fantastic. I think you've done a fantastic job, to be honest. I think one thing on the issue of team and team culture is that
Mhm,
when you've got those kind of key values, if you can sort of embed that in your languaging,
mhm,
so if you value customers, you want to refer to your customers in a way using terminologies that show value implicitly.
mhm.
So that way you're reinforcing the culture not only by your regular sort of weekly meetings and monthly meetings and discussing them explicitly, but you're implicitly embedding them by the words you use, when you refer to different people and so on. So your values are in your words as well, I think.
Yeah,
Um, has a lot of value as well.
yeah,
But I think that's a fantastic job.
yeah. I think
Probably sit.
that's a very important point you've raised as well. And because I mentioned about uh, our culture code being genius, right? And our enterprise promise is igniting your genius, and which goes for internal customers, which is all the team members, as well as external customers, which are our clients, right? So whatever anyone in the team is doing all the time, they're focused at is igniting the genius of the person they're dealing with. So you raise a really good point over there about using those values in your day-to-day languaging, because it just embeds in that person on how they can stay in flow by using those specific languages and using that part of the culture as well. Anything else you'd like to add, Sajid, on the questions which went through in terms of you've done this really well about this point about create a dynamite orange level, moving to yellow, keep getting stuck at what to focus on. I'd like you to add. So Debbie has just added like she's into branding and storytelling. Great at doing it for other, but not for myself. You've done that pretty well on just carving your brand, and
Yeah.
now getting to know Sajid Siddiqui as well. Now, what are your views on going from and one step to the other and keep like how to keep that focus?
Yeah, I think the critical thing from orange to yellow is focus, and I think it's to follow the value really. I think the discussion about brand and whether it's me or the product, that kind of stuff, I think at that level that's probably not the point where I would focus. I would focus more on the customer, and
Hmm.
I'd focus more on am I giving them value and how am I giving them value.
Yeah,
Um, you know, that's the focus. And once you're giving them value, what would they like that I could actually sort of charge them for, where they're getting so much value that they're willing to pay for it.
yeah,
I think that's the focus. There's so many things to focus on, and I think it's really critical that that's the focus. I think personally at that point, I
yeah.
think branding comes a little bit later. That's my feeling on that.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. So, so if you guys know the story of Genius U, right? So Genius U, we launched it in 2000 and late 2014 after Roger came with the Millionaire Master Plan book, and Genius U was not a company until 2000 late 2016. So for 2 years, we ran this business without having set up a company or having a called the Genius Test. From the Genius Test, we changed it to Genius U when we added courses on it, like the micro degree learning courses on it, and then Genius U became like really popular, and it became like a so when it became like a $20 million business. I'm not saying that you guys have to do this, but that's when like we went in and registered that company. And now that we're setting up a leadership, just last month is when we've set up like a full-fledged leadership team for this big organization. In terms of branding, our focus every point was the customer. Like, how are we giving value to that customer using whatever brand that we were using Roger James Hamilton as a brand, plus we were using Genius Test to start with, and then Genius U as well. But the focus always solving that problem for that customer and just keep on replicating it day by day. And after it reached that critical mass is when we decided, okay, let's just put this company in place and do that as well. So it might differ for your business, but if you keep that focus on your company, that would be like really.
And just and just add one more thing. Let's break that down in more. If you're going from 1 to 10 customers, I think that's where you're sort of building your initial user group. And let's say, for example, when you go from 10 to 100 or 100 to 1,000, you need to have some sort of presence in some way. Then you've got 10 people to bounce off of. To how can I phrase this? What should my brand look like? Because you've got 10 perfect, not 10 perfect ones, but at least you can go to the 2 or 3 people out of that brand who you really love, you know, and ask them that, you know, I want to establish a name, I want to do this, want to do that. I think that way you're going to have a brand which is much more relevant, as opposed to a brand which is, you know, not relevant.
That's you could get those answers from your user group itself. That's like such
exactly
point. I know we've on time right now, and I'm critical of it as well. So thank you so much, Sajid, for joining us on this call. This call was great. So much learning on the back of it as well. So I'd suggest you guys just put in into comments what your best key learning was from this as well. We shared quite a lot. We went through the importance of values and how Sajid set up his business, going on to Facebook ads, how to create that specific funnel, then going on to the questions and the importance of culture and value in your business and how that impacts staying in flow. As well, and staying consistent is like the key part of all. But thanks everyone, and I'll go through questions and comment as on that document as well, and I look forward to speaking with you next month. Cheers, bye everyone.